We heard from Judson Phillips, the president of the Tea Party Nation, this morning, saying that they're going to protest outside, and they're inviting you to come protest outside the office of Senator Bob Corker. They don't like his position on the financial regulation bill, so we wanted to give Senator Corker a chance to respond to that. Senator Bob Corker, good morning and welcome to Nashville's Morning News.
Good morning, Ralph. Good to be with you.
You have earned the nickname, well, you haven't necessarily earned it, but you've got the nickname Bailout Bob for your work on financial regulation reform. The belief is that what the Senate is about to pass with your cooperation will be a law that makes perpetual bailouts of financial institutions not only our history, but our future. Will it do that?
Well, first of all, I'm opposing the bill, so I don't know. I understand. Look, all of us are very upset at the role government is playing in our lives right now, and we welcome folks to come to our office, but I think there's a misunderstanding about where we are. I'm with 41 Republicans right now opposing this bill, trying to get very significant changes, and that we do not want any taxpayer bailouts to take place. And I've been very involved in this, as you know, but not involved to try to pass a bad bill, but to keep a bad bill from becoming law and to make significant changes.
The opposite position.
I'm on a 41 senator letter from Republicans, and have been leading, trying to make major changes in this legislation on our behalf. So I think it's exactly the opposite, but don't let me diminish.
I understand.
I understand why people are angry. I'm angry. So,
but here's what they want you to do. Not make changes, kill it. They say this bill can't possibly be any good no matter what you do to it. You need to kill it, and kill it with a filibuster. Participate in and lead the fight to filibuster the bill so it can't pass at all.
Well, I am participating in it, and I am leading it. So at the end of the day, I do think that there will be some members on our side of the aisle that will feel the need to support a financial regulation bill. And my efforts are to try to get the bill, if it passes, into a place that it will not do damage, and certainly do the opposite from bailouts. I mean, it's the language that the administration has changed and brought forth does create flexibilities for those kind of things to happen. We do not want that to happen. I've got 14 changes just to that orderly liquidation title to make it so that can never happen again. So I hear what you're saying. I would just say to those out there that are listening, I think there is a very good chance that some members of our delegation are going to end up supporting legislation like this. What I'm trying to do is to do as much damage control as possible. And right now, I got to be honest. I listened to a meeting right now. Dick Shelby and Chris Dodd are negotiating this bill. I'm not. Those are the two lead negotiators. Mm-hmm. I am very despondent over the direction of these negotiations, and I don't want to get into the details of that right now, but the bill at present is going in a direction that I think is very negative. And if that continues, I can assure you and your listening audience that I'm not going to support it. So I think there's a pretty major misunderstanding about where we are in this piece of legislation. But I understand the anger.
Yeah. Senator Corker, what could you do? You said you'd like to make some changes that will at least make it so that it wouldn't be destructive to the economy, that and we wouldn't have perpetual bailouts. Yeah. What kind of changes would accomplish that? How could we be assured in the future that we're not going to spend a lot of taxpayer dollars on big failing banks in the future?
Well, what you would do is resolve them, take them out of business, just like happens in Tennessee right now with our smaller community banks. Exactly that same way. Unfortunately, the Dodd bill, as it's constructed, gives the Treasury, gives the Federal Reserve, gives the FDIC a lot of flexibilities, and I think we all understand what happens when people are given flexibilities. They take advantage of those. So there's numbers of tightenings that need to happen. But the thing that has most recently, in the last 24 hours, given me great concern is where this Consumer Protection Agency may be going. I'm very concerned that all of a sudden something that might have had veto ability by those people who actually prudentially regulate, I'm talking about the OCC, the FDIC, the Fed, and others, that there are some things that may be taking that also in a direction that might be very, very bad for our country. So again, I am in the middle of this. I'm in the middle of making sure that our caucus members all understand the many problems that could be created with bad legislation like this. But to be in the middle of this and to understand it does not mean that I support bad legislation.
Yeah.
And so, and let me say this, the president is, I think, going to Wall Street today. And he's talking about how this bill is, if you're with him, then you fight Wall Street and you're for his legislation. If you're against him, then you're for Wall Street. And nothing could be further from the truth. We all know, those of us in Tennessee, that when you put in place big regulations like this, what happens is the big guys just get bigger.
Exactly.
It doesn't affect Wall Street. As a matter of fact, there's not much in this bill right now that Wall Street cares much about. It affects our community bankers. It affects people across the state of Tennessee. It affects manufacturers who buy some of these products to actually hedge against material prices changing. So nothing could be further from the truth. And I've tried to explain to our caucus and to people on the floor that it's not the big guys that are going to be affected negatively if this legislation keeps going as is. It's the people that we all care about across this country that create jobs, that on a daily basis depend upon being able to have the freedom to do things within our financial system that keep them prosperous. So, again, people are welcome to come to our office, and I hope they'll actually join in with what we're trying to do to keep this piece of legislation from being detrimental to our country.
All right. Senator Corker, thank you so much for your time and for explaining your position and what you're trying to do in Washington today on the financial regulation bill. Senator Bob Corker here on Nashville Morning News, Super Talk 99.7 WTN.